What's up, everybody? This is going to be a heavy video, and I'm extremely tired, and I got a full day tomorrow, so forgive me for my informalities and the fact that I may be smoking and drinking during it. Maybe. I'm not sure yet. I was working for a client this morning, and it was a man and a woman, and they had a son. And his son is super sweet, sweetest little boy. He's very curious and very playful and very polite, and you can just tell he has a heart of gold. And as I'm working on their car, they're in my radius, and I can hear them like bitching back and forth about contacts in their phone, like who's this, who's that. And the woman was like, well, fuck it, go and delete them. And then the guy's like, oh, who are those motherfuckers? And like they were just bitching back and forth, And that was one thing. I was just kind of like, relationship problems, right? And then it wasn't even maybe just a few minutes later, the kid was playing even further away, but I just focused my mind on the child. And I heard the kid say he was playing with his little pet, like not pet, but toy dinosaurs and stuff, like mocking their voices and stuff. And he's with them, and I heard him say, "Who's that? Who's this?" And that shit fucking hit me really fucking hard, because he was at the age where he was very malleable. And he was at the age where all he was doing, all he knew what to do was to repeat his parents' behavior. Um, and it didn't take. I mean, it was literally. I don't know how many times we've had that argument before. Probably many. But it was so fucking blatantly obvious that the parents were doing it. Not even 5 minutes later, the kid was doing it with his toys. And you think about that. He was probably, that boy was probably, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4. The only thing he knew how to do was reenact his parents' behavior. And you don't think that shit's gonna get ingrained in his head and become a lifelong problem? It was sad. But I mean, out of all the problems that conceivably could happen, that's probably not so bad. I mean, you could watch abuse or watch any of that stuff, and it would be maybe worse. That could be happening as well. But it really correlated the effect of your childhood to what's going to happen later in life. He's already getting shit cemented in his brain about cheating or suspected cheating, and he doesn't even know what a relationship is yet, and it's already being put in his head, and he's already repeating it. With that being said, I had a conversation with a caretaker of mine today that it was incidentally slipped that essentially I don't want to go into specifics, but essentially that children were an inconvenience. And like I said, this was a caretaker of mine, and as an adult now talking with them, they said children are an inconvenience. Um, that really wrapped it up pretty well, like full circle. Um, because I have to say, I always felt like an inconvenience. I always felt like my needs, or my opinions, and everything weren't valued or mattered. So to kind of actually hear it for the first time was liberating. One, to kind of like wrap it all up for me and put those ties together. At the same time, very disheartening. The same way it was disheartening to watch that kid repeat his parents as they were exhibiting, unhealthy behaviors. Um, and then to go, another step into this, as into narcissistic relationships. Um, to be bluntly honest, why the fuck did I get into a narcissistic relationship? The same reason that kid was repeating what his parents said with his dinosaur toys. Yeah, I know I was like 25 when this happened, but it was the same reason. It was repeating what I saw as a child. And I know this is like, Freudian bullshit, old school psychology, but it's like, honestly, this shit's true. I was just repeating exactly what I saw as a child. I was repeating the same relationship I saw my caregivers go through. There's no fucking doubt about it. There's no fucking doubt about it. Even at one point, I even told, I think I've mentioned this before, as I always say that because I mention shit so much. I told the narcissist that she felt like home. What the fuck was home? Walking on eggshells, abuse, being ignored, um, in general, not being cared about, um, being abandoned, so on and so forth. That was home. I told her she felt like home. And when all this happening in the same day, having a caretaker say that to me, and that clicked, and then watching that boy play with his toys and repeating what his parents said, it just, I mean, I always knew, like, we all know this. Like, we all, as in classical psychology, we all know this shit to be true. Um, but goddamn, that shit fucking hit home, man. That hit heavy with me today. Real heavy, you know. Mm, mm. My point being is, was it your fault you were abused by your narcissistic partner or your parents? Absolutely not. No way. You were an innocent child playing with your dinosaurs, and somebody decided to come along and kick the shit out of you. It was not your fault. Was it your fault you were abused by a narcissistic partner in the future? No, it was not, because I promise you and I both had the best intentions at hand. All we wanted to do was to love that individual and make things work. But we do, and it is absolutely necessary and completely key to understand why we were in that situation. And when we can look back and correlate the past to the present, or the past to the recent past, or maybe even the past to the future, and see that all we're doing is recreating our childhood, then we can start to change. And we've known this for a while. I've known this for a very long time. But it was something about today, something about seeing the kid, and something about the caretaker seeing it in the same day, that shit hit me heavy as fuck. In a liberating way. In upsetting, of course, but very liberating, to the extent where I have to say at this point, it's like it cut the tie. I don't feel tied to it anymore. I could finally see all of this in the broad spectrum to the point where I could go, okay, none of this was my fucking fault. This is why I did it. And now I can move on in peace and continue my life without any of this being a hindrance. Um, a hugely impactful day. And very lucky to have this all happen in one day, honestly. I hope that all of you can get to this point at some point. I don't know what tomorrow will bring or how this will play out in the future, um, but just a phenomenal. It's not. I want to say epiphany, but it wasn't even epiphany. It was something I've already known this. I've already known this. You know, we've all already known this, but just to see it all in one day, like I saw the full fucking cycle in one day, and just to see the full fucking cycle in one day, that is you know, that's a rare fucking thing, man. So I just want y'all to think about that, and if you haven't seen it, you know, you may never get lucky enough to. Um, but try to see that. Try to see the little boy playing with his toys, little girl playing with her toys and repeating the parents' behavior. You don't think he's gonna be doing that when he's fucking 25, 26, maybe even 30? Maybe he thought maybe 40? Of course he is. Of course he is. That shit is so deeply ingrained in you. Mm. But the only people that change are the people that want to. Anyway, I hope that meant something to y'all because this was a fucking heavy ass goddamn day for me. Which is probably why I'm not so spriteful as usual. It's probably also why Boo is hiding. She normally should be bothering me right now. Um, but yeah, I hope this means something to y'all and comment and whatever. I'm ready for bed. I'll see y'all later.